Okay. If the height is 1 handbreadth above the ground and there is tumah below it or inside the house, whatever is below the height or inside the house becomes tummy, but whatever is inside or above the height remains tahu. If the tumor is inside the hive, only that which is inside becomes tummy. If the tumor is above the hive, utensils directly above it go up to the sky, become tummy. In what case does this apply? When the hive's mouth is outdoors. However, if the mouth is inside the house and an olive-sized piece of corpse is located outside, either below or above the hive, the utensils directly below or above the olive-sized piece or anything made inside the hive becomes tummy. Anything that is not directly below or above the outside piece and whatever is inside either the hive or the house remains tahu. If the piece of corpse is located inside either the hive or the house, everything becomes tummy. If the height is located 1 handbreadth above the ground and there is tumah below it, the hive inside the house or inside the above the hive, everything becomes tummy.
Okay. So that was our worst case scenario of the one that's the kli that can spread but not screen. So now Zion, we revert back to the case of Medvar Mamorim Bizman Shehi Kli Mechulchelis. That's when it's a loose fitting kli. However, if it had been damaged, and it had been stuffed up with straw. So now it's lost the shem kli, and once it loses the shem kli, then it can be defined as an ohel. Okay, or a futza, or it is even if it is still a kli, but it is tightly fitting to the doorway. In other words, there's no tefach of space between it and the door. Then it can join with the door to be an ohel, with the walls of the house. As we saw before, that a kli can join with the walls of a house to become to be part of the ohel. Okay, so now the subject of our discussion has reverted to the case where it actually is an ohel in its own right. Okay, so now your brain is saying, okay, the kli is now an ohel. Okay, we saw that before. It's just repeating what we saw a few Mishnayos ago. So remember, the mouth of the kli is facing inside the door. Okay, but now you've got a kazayas underneath the kli, so it's it's flush with the ground, and all that you've got is a kli resting on the ground with the kazayas underneath it. But it's now an ohel. Okay, so if it's an ohel, then it screens, and the tumah can't get up, but it can go down. Kenegdo adat home tame. So all that happens is that if there's some sort of pocket in the ground where the kalim stored, then that will become tame underneath it. Al gaba, what happens if the tumah is above the kli? Then all it is a kli above an ohel, and everything underneath the ohel is protected. Okay. Kenegdo adarakia tame. Then only in the airspace directly above it is tame. Besocha or ubabais. But what happens if the tumah is inside the house or inside the kli? Well, the tumah is going to spread because it's an ohel. It'll spread inside the kli into the house, or from the house into the kli. Okay, and so then it and the house will be tameh. Mishna ches. Haisa gavoha mina aretz tefach. Now, what happens if it's elevated above the ground by a tefach? Okay, so again, what that's introduced now is that under the ground, under the kli is now also got an ohel underneath it. So you got 3 ohalos. You've got the house, you've got the interior of the kli, and you've got underneath the kli now. They're all 3 separate ohalos, but they all join into each other. Okay. So since all these 3 klis, all these 3 ohalos are interleading to each other, and they're all facing into the house, hakol tame elagaba, because wherever the tumah is, it's going to spread into the other adjoining tents, which are completely open, and therefore, so the only thing that's protected is what's on top of the kli, because there it's got a screen, and nothing on top of the kli is going to become tameh. Okay, al gaba. However, if the tumah is on top of the kli, then it still screens everything else, and all that happens is it goes straight up into the air. Okay, connecto adarakia tameh. All right, finally we are done with those, with all of those cases of the kli with its mouth into the house. So now we move the kli into the house. Mishna Tes. Haisam Mima'ala is kol habayis. Okay, we're not talking about a kli that's so big that it fills the entire house. But what we're talking about, what the Mishnah is trying to say rather, is that the kli is entirely inside the house. Okay, it's not in the doorway anymore, it's inside the house. Ve'en beina lebein hakoros paseach tefach. So now it's being propped up on a shelf where its mouth is just under the ceiling, less than a tefach below the ceiling. Okay, tuma besocha. If the tuma is inside the kli, without looking at the result, what can you tell me is going to happen? If there's tuma inside the kli, inside the house, what's going to be tamei?
The house is going to become tamei.
Yeah, the house is going to be tamei because the tuma is going to go out. Okay, don't look. Next case, a tuma babayis. What happens if there's tuma in the house and this kli is sitting there less than a tefach from the ceiling? Obviously, the house is tamei. What's with the kli?
Oh, it should become tahor, no? It
Yes,
should be tahor.
Correct. It stays tahor because it's protected. It's less than a tefach. So there is, and the tuma has no reason to want to go burrowing into it. The tuma wants to go out, not in.
Right. Okay.
If it was out, if it was like standing on a table somewhere open to the, then it becomes tamei like the rest of the house. But because it's now effectively closed, it doesn't have to be sealed. All it has to be is closed enough that less than a tefach. Then it's protected. Mashi besocha tahor. Because tuma wants out, not in. Bein omedes, bein muta al tzida, bein achas, bein shtayim, and it doesn't make a difference whether it's against the ceiling or against a wall. So let's say it's on its side with its mouth pressed against the wall, or even less than a tefach away from the wall. It's still protected. And even two kalim, where one is pressed against the wall or the ceiling, and the other one is directly behind it with its mouth pressed against the base of the first one. They're still protected as long as there's less than a tefach of airspace above their mouths. They are protected from the tuma that's in the house.
But the tefach protects them.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and those are our new Mishnahs for the day.
Okay, volume.
Base.
Cross bearers that will be passing under a portico, on one of them shut the door and close it with a key. If the door can remain closed by itself, the house remains tahor. But if not, the house becomes tamei. A similar case would be where a barrel of dried figs or a box of straw was placed in a window. If the dried figs or straw can remain in place by themselves, the contents remain tahor. If not, everything becomes tamei. A house was partitioned with jugs that were planted with clay, and if the clay can remain in place by itself, the other side of the house remains tahor, but if not, it becomes tamei. A wall constructed to be part of a house is ruled half and half. How so? An exterior wall contains tuma. If the tuma is in the inner half of the wall, the house becomes tamei. If someone standing above the wall remains tahor. If the tuma is on the outer half, the house remains tahor, and someone standing above the wall becomes tamei. If the tumor is in the middle of the house, if the tumor is in the middle of the house becomes tamei, regarding the person standing above the wall, Rabbi declares him tamei, and the common declare him tahor. And Rabbi Yehuda says the entire wall is ruled as part of the house. And an internal wall contains tuma. The house that's closer to the tumor becomes tamei, and the one closer to the tahor remains tahor. If the tumor is in the middle, both become tamei. If there is tuma inside one of the houses and there are utensils inside the wall, those utensils in the house closer to the tuma become tamei, and the ones in the half closer to the tahor remains tahor, and the utensils that are in the middle become tamei. There is tuma in the ceiling that is between the lower story of the house and the upper story. If the tuma is inside the lower part of the house, lower half of the ceiling, the lower story of the house remains tamei, but if the upper story remains tahor. If the tumor is inside the upper half of the ceiling, the upper story remains tamei, and the lower remains tahor. If the tumor is in the middle, both become tamei. If there is tumor in one of the stories and there are utensils in the ceiling, the utensils that are in the half nearer the tumor become tamei, and the ones that are in the half nearer the tahor remain tahor. Utensils that are in the middle become tamei. Rabbi Yehuda says the entire ceiling is ruled as part of the upper story.
Okay. Kalim.
Okay. There are three sheets: a sheet that is designed for lying on and susceptible to becoming tamei with midas tuma, a sheet that is designed as one for use as a curtain is susceptible to becoming tamei with corpse tuma, and a sheet of pictures is tahor from any form of tuma. There are 3 towels: a towel for hands susceptible to becoming tummy with Bridges Tuma, a towel used for scrolls susceptible to becoming tummy with corpse Tuma, and one used for shrouds for the liars of Levium is towel from over the liars of Levium, a towel from any form of Tuma. There are 3 gauntlets. The gauntlet of hundreds of animals and birds is susceptible to becoming tummy with Bridges Tuma. The gauntlet used for locusts is susceptible to becoming tummy with corpse Tuma, and the gauntlet of summer fruit dries is towel from any form of Tuma. And there are 3 handheads. The handheads of a young
That's it.
woman is
That's it. We've done 3. Okay.
Okay. And Talmud. Okay, Gimel base. The appointed one said to them, "Go out and see if the time for slaughtering has arrived. If the time has arrived, the observer says dawn." Masa ben Shmuel says the entire eastern sky is lit up as far as Hebron, and the observer says yes. The appointed one said to them, "Go out and bring a lamb from the chamber of lambs." Now the chamber of lambs was the northwest corner of the hall of the fire, and 4 chambers were located there. One was the chamber of lambs, the chamber of receipts, and the chamber of the hall of the fire. And one was the chamber in which they made showbread. They entered the chamber of vessels and took out from them 93 silver and gold vessels. They gave the tumid lamb to drink with a cup of gold. Even though the animal had been examined before evening, they examined it by the light of the torches. The one who won the privilege of the tumid pulls it and goes to the slaughtering.
We've done 3.
3 already? Oh,
Yeah, that's 3. They were short ones today.
I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can enjoy yourself in Adios.
Yeah, thank you. Adios. Zion Aleph. Yeshua Reb Zadok testified regarding a firstborn donkey redemption, sheep that died, and a Cohen that has no claim at all upon the owner. For Rebbe Eliezer says the owner is responsible for the redemption sheep, just as it was for the 5 Salem of the son. But we come and say the owner is not responsible for the redemption sheep, rather it is like the redemption money of Meiser Sheni. Reb Zadok testified concerning the bribe of non-kosher grasshoppers, that is tahor, because the earlier Mishnah had stated non-kosher grasshoppers that were pickled together with kosher grasshoppers do not render their bribe forbidden. Reb Zadok testified concerning where the flowing waters are greater than the trickling waters where they are valid. There was an incident with Bris Playa Pila, and the incident was brought before the sages, and they ruled that mingled water fit.
Okay. And
Zion, Zion. Garments that may not be rent may not be rent. Soldiers may not be bared, and the mourner's meal may not be served except by relatives of the deceased. The mourner's meal is only served on a set-up bed. We may not bring food to the house of mourning, neither on a tray nor a salver or on a decorative basket, but only in plain baskets. We do not say the mourner's blessing during Kol HaMoed, but we stand in rows and offer constellation, and then dismiss the public. We do not sit down the bear in the street, nor are not to encourage eulogies. The bears of women are never set down out of respect. Women may sing dirges during Kol HaMoed, but they may not clap. And Rabbi Israel says those near the bear may clap. While Rosh Chodesh, Hanukkah, and Purim, they may sing dirges and clap on any of these days, but they may not engage in responsive wailing. Once the deceased is buried, they may neither sing dirges nor clap. What is meant by dirges? What all lament is unison, and what is meant by wailing? That one speaks and others respond after, as if the verse states, "And teach your daughters to lament, and each woman shall teach her daughter a wailing." However, as regards the future, the verse states, "He will destroy both destroy death forever, and my Lord Hashem Elohim will wipe tears from any ever face, and he will remove the shame of his people from the entire earth, for Hashem has spoken."
Amen. Hadran Alach said, remember, Maseches Moed Katan. Tomorrow is Chagiga.
And here we go. Kalayim. Okay. A vineyard that has been laid waste, if 10 vines can be harvested with one base saw, then they are planted according to the law. It is called a poor vineyard. If a vineyard has been planted in a regular layout, if there are 2 opposite 3, there is a vineyard. If not, it is not a vineyard. The mayor says, since it is in appearance of vineyards, it is a vineyard. A vineyard which is planted less than 4 cubits apart, Reb Shimon says is not a vineyard, but the Gedolim say it is a vineyard, and the middle ones are regarded as non-existent. Okay, Kimmel. A ditch 10 deep and 4 wide, which crosses a vineyard. But Elias ben Yaakov says it transverses the vineyard from beginning to end, then it has the appearance of lying between 2 vineyards, and one may sow in it. But if not, it is like a winepress. And a winepress 10 deep and 4 wide in a vineyard. But Elias says one may sow in it, but the sages forbid. A watch mound 10 high and 4 wide in a vineyard, one may sow on it, but if the tips of the branches intertwined, it is forbidden.
Okay, and we are done.
All
Okay.
right. Have a great day.
day.
And
See you tomorrow.
comments to share.
Bye.